Chapter 14. Farewell to Vegas. God's mercy on you swine. Really relating to these last chapters, damn. God's mercy on you swine. That's why I say I say that all the time, you know. Cheers. I got my rum mixed with energy drink. So healthy, right? Good Lord, man. Invest in some vodka if you're going to mix alcohol with energy drinks. Rum and energy drink. Oh, dude, 22. Jinx. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. With rum. I was like, somebody help this man. Rum and an energy drink. Good Lord. Think of your palate. It's like, I mean, I guess rum is good with whatever. It's so sweet. It just made me think of like putting like a spoonful of honey in a Red Bull. Rum is like a very warm flavor, you know? Okay. Farewell to Vegas, God's mercy on you swine. As I skulked around the airport, I realized that I was still wearing my police identification badge. It was a flat orange rectangle, sealed in clear plastic, that said, Raoul Duke, Special Investigator, Los Angeles. I saw it in the mirror above the urinal. Get rid of this thing, I thought. Tear it off. The gig is finished. And it proved nothing. At least not to me. And certainly not to my attorney, who also had a badge. But now he was back in Malibu, nursing his paranoid sores. It had been a waste of time. A lame fuck around that was only, in clear retrospect, a cheap excuse for 1,000 cops to spend a few days in Las Vegas and lay the bill on the taxpayers. Nobody had learned anything, or at least nothing new, except maybe me. And all I learned was that the National District Attorneys Association is about 10 years behind the grim truth and harsh kinetic realities of what they have only just recently learned to call the drug culture in this foul year of our Lord, 1971. They are still burning the taxpayers for thousands of dollars to make films about the dangers of LSD at a time when acid is widely known to everybody but cops to be the Studebaker of the drug market. The popularity of psychedelics has fallen off so drastically that most volume dealers no longer even handle quality acid or mescaline except as a favor to special customers. Mainly jaded over 30 drug dilettantes like me and my attorney. The big market these days is in downers, reds. Is in downers. The big market these days is in downers, red and smack, Seconal and heroin, and a hell broth of bad domestic grass, sprayed with everything from arsenic to horse tranquilizers. What sells today is whatever fucks you up. Whatever short-circuits your brain and grounds it out for the longest possible time. The ghetto market has mushroomed into suburbia. the Milltown man has turned, with a vengeance, to skin popping and even mainlining. And for every ex-speed freak who drifted for relief into smack, there are 200 kids who went straight to the needle off of Sekinol. They never even bothered to try speed. Uppers are no longer stylish. Methadone is almost as rare on the 1971 market as pure acid or DMT. Consciousness expansion went out with LBJ. And it is worth noting historically that downers came in with Nixon. I limped onto the plane with no problem except a wave of ugly vibrations from the other passengers. But my head was so burned out by then that I wouldn't have cared if I had tried to climb. But my head was so burned out by then that I wouldn't have cared if I'd had to climb aboard stark naked and covered with oozing cankers. It would have taken extreme physical force to keep me off that plane. I was so far beyond simple fatigue that I was beginning to feel nicely adjusted to the idea of permanent hysteria. I felt like the slightest misunderstanding with the stewardess would cause me to either cry or go mad. And the woman seemed to sense this, because she treated me very gently. When I wanted more ice cubes for my Bloody Mary, she brought them quickly. And when I ran out of cigarettes, she gave me a pack from her own purse. The only time she seemed nervous was when I pulled a grapefruit out of my satchel and began slicing it up with a hunting knife. I noticed her watching me closely, so I tried to smile. "I never go anywhere without grapefruit," I said. "It's hard to get a really good one, unless you're rich." She nodded. I flashed her the grimace/smile again, but it was hard to know what she was thinking. It was entirely possible, I knew, that she'd already decided to have me taken off the plane in a cage when we got to Denver. I stared fixedly into her eyes for a time, but she kept herself under control. I was asleep when our plane hit the runway, but the jolt brought me instantly awake. I looked out the window and saw the Rocky Mountains. What the fuck was I doing here? I wondered. It made no sense at all. I decided to call my attorney as soon as possible. Have him wire me some money to buy a huge albino Doberman. Denver is a national clearinghouse for stolen Dobermans. They come from all parts of the country. Since I was already here, I thought I might as well pick up a vicious dog. But first, something for my nerves. Immediately after the plane landed, I rushed up the corridor to the airport drugstore and asked the clerk for a box of Amyls. She began to fidget and shake her head. "Oh no," she said finally. "I can't sell those things except by prescription." "I know," I said. "But you see, I'm a doctor. I don't need a prescription." She was still fidgeting. "Well, you'll have to show me some ID," she moaned. Of course. I jerked out my wallet and let her see my police badge while I flipped through the deck until I located my ecclesiastical discount card. Which identifies me as a doctor of divinity a certified minister of the Church of the New Truth. She inspected it carefully, then handed it back. I sensed a new respect in her manner. Her eyes grew warm. She seemed to want to touch me. "I hope you'll forgive me, Doctor," she said with a fine smile. "But I had to ask. We get some real freaks in this place. All kinds of dangerous addicts. You'd never believe it." "Don't worry," I said. "I understand perfectly. But I have a bad heart, and I hope—" "Certainly," she exclaimed. And within seconds she was back with a dozen amyls. I paid without quibbling about the ecclesiastical discount. Then I opened the box and cracked one under my nose immediately, while she watched. "Just be thankful your heart is young and strong," I said. "If I were you, I would never... holy shit!" "What? Yes, you'll have to excuse me now. I feel it coming on." I turned away and reeled off in the general direction of the bar. "God's mercy on you, swine!" I shouted at two Marines coming out of the men's room. They looked at me but said nothing. By this time I was laughing crazily, but it made no difference. I was just another fucked up cleric. With a bad heart. Shit, they'll love me down at the Brown Palace. I took another big hit off the amyl, and by the time I got to the bar, my heart was full of joy. I felt like a monster reincarnation of Horatio Algier, a man on the move, just sick enough to be totally confident. The end. Thank you. I wish I was sick enough to be totally confident. Thank you. I appreciate that very much, chat. Thank you.